Hello everyone, in today's reading, the card that comes forward is the Knight of Swords, bringing with it a powerful wave of momentum, determination, and forward movement. This card often appears when circumstances that have been delayed, uncertain, or still in the planning stage begin to gain speed and take tangible form. The energy surrounding this card feels strongly connected to creation, manifestation, and progress, something you have been envisioning, working toward, or quietly building behind the scenes is now moving closer to reality. The efforts you have invested, the sacrifices you have made, and the persistence you have shown are starting to create visible results. One of the strongest themes present in this reading is independence and self-reliance. You have been carrying a significant amount of responsibility on your own shoulders. Whether in your personal life, career, relationships, or spiritual journey, there is an indication that you have been relying primarily on your own strength, wisdom, and determination. The cards acknowledge the hard work you have put in and the resilience you have demonstrated during challenging times. Even when circumstances felt uncertain, you continued moving forward, trusting yourself and staying committed to your goals. However, this reading also suggests a shift in dynamics. While your independence has been a source of strength, the universe appears to be reminding you that you are not meant to do everything alone. I sense supportive energy entering your life in a meaningful way. This may come through a friend, family member, mentor, romantic partner, colleague, or even an unexpected connection. Someone may step forward with guidance, encouragement, practical assistance, or emotional support just when you need it most. The energy feels reassuring, almost like a gentle reminder from the universe saying, "You are supported, and you don't have to carry every burden by yourself." There is also a strong message of abundance and expansion flowing through this reading. While financial growth may certainly be part of the picture, the abundance being highlighted goes far beyond material wealth. The energy points toward richness in multiple areas of life: love, emotional fulfillment, meaningful friendships, personal satisfaction, inner peace, and genuine happiness. You may begin noticing opportunities, blessings, or positive developments appearing where there was once uncertainty or lack. This is a period where gratitude and openness can help attract even more positive experiences into your life. Next, we have the Ace of Pentacles, a card that symbolizes new beginnings, fresh opportunities, and the potential for long-term growth and abundance. This energy often arrives after a period of personal transformation, signaling that the work you've been doing behind the scenes, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, is now beginning to create tangible results in your life. What stands out strongly here is that you are no longer approaching life from the same perspective you once had. Through your healing journey, self-reflection, and inner growth, something fundamental within you has shifted. You've gained a deeper understanding of yourself, your purpose, and the lessons that have shaped your path. Because of this, you're navigating situations with greater wisdom, confidence, and emotional maturity than before. Your communication has evolved. The way you express yourself, interact with others, and carry your energy into the world feels different now. People may even notice this change in you, sensing a stronger, calmer, and more authentic presence. You are no longer viewing life through the limitations of past fears, doubts, or old patterns. Instead, you are seeing things from a broader, more elevated perspective, allowing you to make decisions that are more aligned with your highest good. The Ace of Pentacles often represents a doorway opening, a chance to build something meaningful and lasting. For some, This may relate to career opportunities, financial improvements, new projects, or a path that offers greater stability and security. For others, it may represent a fresh start in relationships, personal goals, or a deeper connection with their spiritual journey. Whatever form it takes, this opportunity feels divinely timed and connected to the growth you've already achieved. Two of Cups, someone is about to enter your life and remind you what it feels like to put your guard down again. Their presence carries a sense of ease, comfort, and genuine connection that has been missing for quite some time. They're going to awaken a part of you that may have been buried beneath responsibilities, disappointments, and the weight of simply trying to keep everything together. Interestingly, I wasn't expecting this to come through as a love message, and it still may not be. While romantic energy is certainly possible, this card often speaks of meaningful soul connections in all forms. This could be a close friend, a mentor, a kindred spirit, or someone who instantly feels familiar despite being new to your life. Whoever they are, they arrive with an important purpose: to remind you that life is not meant to be carried alone. This person seems to have a gift for making others feel seen, understood, and accepted. Around them, you may find yourself sharing things you normally keep hidden. Conversations could flow effortlessly, and for the first time in a long while, you may feel safe enough to stop pretending that you're okay all the time. Their energy encourages honesty, vulnerability, and mutual support. I also sense that you've spent so much time being strong for everyone else that you've forgotten what it feels like to receive support yourself. You've become accustomed to handling things independently, solving problems alone, and carrying burdens without asking for help. Over time, this survival mode became your normal. You learned how to keep moving forward, but somewhere along the way, you may have disconnected from the softer, lighter parts of yourself. With the Four of Cups showing up here, I'm getting a strong sense that you've reached a point of emotional saturation, not in a chaotic or dramatic way, but in a quiet, deeply internal way, where something inside you has simply had enough. It's less about rejection of life and more about refusal to keep participating in emotional patterns that drain you, blur your clarity, or keep you entangled in energies that were never truly yours to hold. There's a subtle but important shift happening here. Your emotional body is recalibrating. It's beginning to prioritize peace over reaction, awareness over absorption, and clarity over constant engagement. This is often what happens when someone has spent a long time being emotionally available to people, situations, expectations, or even invisible pressures. And something in them finally starts asking, but what about me in all of this? There's a powerful distinction forming between what you feel and what you've been carrying. For a long time, those two may have been blended together so seamlessly that you didn't realize where your own emotional truth ended and someone else's began. You might have absorbed other people's emotional states so naturally that it felt like your own inner weather system. Their fear became your caution. Their guilt turned into your overthinking. Their shame quietly evolved into a background pressure you tried to resolve internally, as if it were yours to fix. Over time, that creates emotional noise, subtle but constant. And when emotional noise is present long enough, it can make your own inner voice feel distant, muted, or even unreliable. Not because it disappeared, but because it was speaking beneath layers of emotional interference. What the Four of Cups reflects in this context is a withdrawal, but not in a negative or avoidant sense. It's more like your inner system is stepping back and saying, I need to stop reacting to everything I'm handed emotionally. There's a growing awareness that not every feeling that enters your field deserves your participation. Not every projection requires your response. Not every emotional weight needs to be carried just because it exists near you. This phase often looks like disinterest from the outside, but internally it's actually refinement. You're becoming more selective with where your attention goes. And attention, emotionally speaking, is energy. Where it goes, you go. With the Five of Cups energy present, it feels like you're finally stepping out of a heavy emotional cycle and walking away from an older version of yourself that was shaped by disappointment, regret, or unmet expectations. This isn't just about letting go in a surface-level way. It's a deeper internal shift where you're no longer identifying with the version of you that felt stuck, unworthy, or emotionally weighed down. You're releasing anything that distorted your sense of self-worth or made you question your value. That could include certain people who drained your energy, environments that kept you small, habits that numbed your potential, or long-held beliefs that quietly told you, you're not enough, or things never work out for you. The key theme here is emotional detachment from what no longer aligns with your growth. Even if these connections or patterns once felt familiar or comforting, you're now recognizing they were limiting your expansion. The Five of Cups often highlights grief, not just over loss, but over the realization that something you once invested energy into can no longer come with you into your next chapter. But what's important here is the shift in focus. Instead of only seeing what's been lost, you're slowly beginning to notice what still remains. There's emotional resilience forming underneath the surface. You're not as broken or stuck as you may have once felt. You're in transition. Because you've started releasing these emotional burdens, something within you is beginning to reawaken. It's like a quiet return of your inner fire. Your motivation, drive, and creative energy are starting to come back online. You may notice moments where you suddenly feel inspired again, or where the future doesn't feel as heavy or uncertain as it used to. That's your energy recalibrating after a long period of emotional suppression or discouragement. Then comes the King of Swords. This is not just a card of intellect. It is the embodiment of mastered clarity, disciplined truth, and aligned authority. It represents the moment when emotion no longer clouds your judgment, when confusion loses its grip, and when you finally see your life for what it truly is without distortion. In this energy, you stopped negotiating with what was draining you. You stopped excusing patterns that kept you small. You stopped explaining away what your intuition had already made clear. The King of Swords is the point where awareness becomes action. You didn't just realize what needed to change. You enforced it. You picked up your inner sword, and with intention rather than impulse, you cut through everything that was misaligned. The self-doubt that whispered hesitation, the mental loops that kept you stuck in overthinking, the illusions that made you question your worth or direction. There is a sharpness here, but it is not destructive. It is liberating. It is the kind of clarity that doesn't just reveal truth, it protects it. You made a decision that shifted the entire trajectory of your path. Not because circumstances forced you, but because you finally chose yourself without needing external validation. This is the deeper meaning of this energy: sovereignty. You stopped outsourcing your power. You stopped waiting for permission. You stopped hoping things would change on their own. Instead, you became the decision maker of your own life again. And in doing so, you closed a cycle that had been lingering far longer than it was meant to. There is something powerful about how both the beginning and ending of this chapter are tied to that single act of decision. It wasn't random. It wasn't accidental. It was a conscious reclaiming of direction. The King of Swords reminds us that transformation often doesn't come from chaos. It comes from clarity finally being strong enough to override fear. The Eight of Pentacles has appeared, showing that you've been putting a lot of effort into your personal growth and healing. You've been working hard on yourself, making progress, and becoming stronger. But whenever you're around certain people, it feels like all that progress gets shaken. Suddenly, doubts start creeping in. You begin questioning yourself, wondering if what you believed about yourself was ever true in the first place. Spirit wants you to hear this clearly. Trust yourself, not the opinions of others. Trust your intuition. Trust your inner wisdom. And listen to that feeling deep inside. Your gut has been trying to tell you something about these people for quite some time now. Deep down, you already know the truth. This message is also about being patient with yourself. Healing and growth are a journey, and you're in the process of rebuilding hope and confidence within yourself. In fact, I feel that one of the main purposes of this message is to restore that inner strength and remind you of who you truly are. I'm getting a very strong feeling right now that you are being protected. Let me pull one more card because there's something important here. What I'm seeing is that divine protection is surrounding you at this time. Negative energies that may have been directed towards you are being blocked and handled by a higher power. There are certain people whose actions and intentions are no longer being allowed to affect you in the same way. I also see a new soul tribe entering your life. New connections and supportive people are making their way toward you. People who will encourage you, uplift you, and help you grow rather than pull you down. You deserve to be surrounded by positive influences, not by people who operate from jealousy, negativity, or unhealthy motives. Some of these individuals have allowed themselves to be guided by energies that are not serving their highest good. That's the message I have for you in today's reading. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next reading.